thank you for watching my channel today, Your True Shelf, and my name is Sarah, and I am here today to do a book review for a book which has been really inspirational for me, which I've just finished reading. So I wanted to dedicate a whole video to the book, and it's a subject I'm really passionate about. The book is this one here. You can see I've got lots of notes in the top. The book is called The 4-Pillar Plan by Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, who is an NHS GP, and he has written this book called The 4-Pillar Plan, which focuses on 4 areas of our lifestyle which can help improve our health. So the 4 areas are rest, eating, movement and sleep. So I'm going to talk about the book and why it's important to me. It's quite a heavy book, so I'm going to put it down for a moment. So I have, as I've spoken about many a time on this channel, I have a real passion for self-care and well-being and holistic medicine. And I've been trying, as long as I can remember, to talk to patients about the importance of these things in their conditions and in their lives. And I've never heard it called lifestyle medicine until recently. But it's now a sort of a growing area of medicine called lifestyle medicine, where doctors are getting interested in this area. And I remember hearing somebody talking on Radio 4, I think it was on the food programme, and it was saying about how doctors have no education in their training about nutrition, which is complete madness, but it's true. I wasn't trained in a single scrap about nutrition while I was training, and that just seems absolutely mad, because the emerging evidence is that nutrition and gut health are so important to the rest of our well-being. So I came across Dr. Chatterjee because he did a TV programme called Doctor in the House on BBC some years ago. And then I can't remember how, but I came across his podcast, which is called Feel Better, Live More. And he was interviewing a different expert in lifestyle medicine each week. And it was really educational for me, and it was stuff that I could use in my surgeries. So when I heard about his book, I really wanted to buy it for that reason. I haven't actually bought it yet. I borrowed it from the library. I am going to buy it because it's one that I definitely want to keep and refer back to. So if I just talk a bit about the book. So the first pillar is rest, and it talks about how we're very busy in society today. We are not prioritising our own care. We're not prioritising taking some time out and doing stuff that we enjoy, and this is having a real impact on our health. He talks about doing a digital detox, and so there are things, a sort of tick list that you've got in each chapter about things that you can do, steps that you can take to try and achieve these targets. So there's some examples of how you can get phone-free time there. And the other thing he suggests, which is a really nice idea, which I've heard lots of people talk about, is to keep a gratitude journal. So finding 3 things or 5 things at the end of each day that you're grateful for and writing it down in a journal. And Oprah swears by this. She says it's one of the things that changed her life most dramatically, because when she did it, she lived from a place of gratitude and abundance rather than scarcity. And so that's another thing in the rest. And he talks about having 15 minutes a day of me time. So doing something that you enjoy for 15 minutes as a minimum, and making this an important part of every day, not just something that you'll be like, yeah, I'll get around to doing that. Actually scheduling that time in. The other thing he talks about is meditation. I definitely am a fan of meditation, and there are apps which you can use. I'd recommend using an app if you're new to meditation, certainly, because just trying to sit still with no one guiding you would be really quite difficult. Your mind will go off in all sorts of tangents. Having someone keep reminding you to come back to your breathing and to do what you're supposed to be doing for 5 or 10 minutes at a time is really helpful. So there's apps like Headspace and Calm. There's one called Insight Timer, which are all good for meditation. So then we come on to the eat section, and again this one is really interesting. So there's some lovely pictures in the book, so it's not just about it's not very text heavy, it's really readable. So he doesn't advise that you subscribe to a specific kind of diet, but he talks about making good choices within the diet that you have. So for instance, minimising sugar, and how when we have less sugar in our diet, we crave less sugar because our taste buds are so accustomed to everything having sugar in it nowadays that it's like when you start going without sugar in your tea and it tastes really disgusting for a few days, and then you get used to it, and then sugar in your tea starts tasting disgusting. He basically makes the same analogy with food. Once you cut the sugar down in your food, you soon get used to it, and then you don't crave the sugar, and when you do have it, it's like, oh, this is so sweet. So things like that. He talks about the gut and gut health, which is something I'm really, really interested in, and I've got another book that I've just borrowed from the library all about gut health, which I'm really looking forward to reading. And he talks about how there are trillions, literally trillions, of bacteria living in our gut, and the bacteria and their DNA make up something called the gut microbiome, and these are really, really important to our health, and we are discovering increasingly how much of a role they actually play in a lot of conditions. And basically, if our gut health is poor, so if the bacteria in our gut are not diverse enough, not in good numbers, it leads to sort of dysfunction in our immune system, and then chronic low levels of inflammation, which we think could be linked to some long-term conditions like heart disease and Alzheimer's. And so it's really important to eat a diverse range of fruit and vegetables in our diet so that we can reduce our inflammation and increase our gut health. Now, we all have cravings, obviously, when we just really want something sweet. So he's got a little page here as well about some strategies you can use when you're having cravings. And I have actually been trying these, and they are, so I keep bashing my tripod, they are working for me. So the move chapter here. This is not telling us to go and join the gym and go and do loads and loads of exercise in the gym. This is practical ways which you can incorporate more exercise into your life easily. So it talks about 5-minute kitchen workouts. There's some examples of little mini workouts you can do in the kitchen or in the office, which I have been doing, and they are so easy, and they do just mean that you get a bit more exercise, your heart rate goes up a bit, you get some strength training. It talks about it's really important to make your muscles strong, because when we get older, our muscle mass decreases, and we've all seen how much effort it takes for some people when they're older just to even get up out of a chair because their muscle mass has decreased so much. And he also talks about your glutes, and how if you don't have strong glutes, that really puts out the rest of your back and your lower limbs. And so there's exercises in there for that as well. He talks about high impact intensity training, which is something which I'm sure people have come across because it's quite popular at the moment. So where you really sort of push yourself as hard as you can for a brief period of time, then you have a short rest, then you do it again, and doing that for sort of 10 or 15 minutes twice a week. He talks about the health benefits which that brings. And there are just little pictures like that, which show the kind of exercise that you can do at home. He talks about trying to walk 10,000 steps a day, ways you could achieve this. So it's all very like home based, not about saying you need to go out, you need to join a gym, you need to go to classes. There's none of that stuff in there. And then the final chapter is on sleep. So all of us are chronically sleep deprived, or most of us, certainly with young children. I've been chronically sleep deprived for 4 years. I barely ever get a night where I get 8 hours uninterrupted sleep. Can't even remember the last time that happened. And so it talks about sleep, talks about napping. There's pages about the importance of getting a good night's sleep. And it talks about ways that we can try and maximise our sleep. For instance, turning our phone off 90 minutes before we go to bed so that we're not looking at our screens and getting stimulation from blue light. Making sure that when we go to bed we're in complete darkness. And he also talks about trying to get 15 minutes outside in the morning. So he goes outside and has his morning cup of tea or coffee out in the garden, come rain or shine. It talks about if you get the bus to work, obviously you could get off the bus a little bit earlier. It talks about different ways that you can go outside, going for a walk around the block if you have a break in the morning. Different ways you can be outside, because the natural light is really beneficial to us, and it helps our circadian rhythms, which is when our body has different activity between the night and the day. It goes in cycles. So overall with this book, this has really changed the way I practice, because it's given me some sort of concrete ways of putting this into my consultations. So like I said before, it's something that I've been doing for a long time in terms of mentioning to people about their lifestyle, about are they getting enough relaxation, are they getting enough time for themselves, are they getting enough sleep. But I've never sort of had the little targets or the necessarily as much of the science behind the stuff that I've said to people before. So it's really nice for me to have that. And he talks about specific examples with patients and how he's made small changes and how it's really helped them in their life. And so I am really, really impressed with this book. As I said, I have changed the way that I practice based on this book. It's given me so much that I can talk about in consultations. It has made me run a bit more late because I spend more time talking about this kind of thing with patients. But I feel like that's what my job should be. I feel instead of automatically reaching for a prescription, I should be trying to get this stuff done and seeing if it means that we can avoid giving a prescription before handing one out. So I really give this book a big 5 stars, and I would recommend it to anybody who wants to try and improve the health in their life. I've recommended it to lots of patients. I will carry on doing so, and I am really looking forward to reading some more of the books which are around a similar thing, which I will be reviewing again in over the next few weeks. If there's any books that you think are along similar lines which you'd like to read, or if you're interested in reading the 4-pillar plan, then let me know. Let me know what you think about the content that I've talked about, and any questions, let me know. So I will see you soon for another video. Bye.